Dead by Daylight, Die of Death, Violence District. What do all these games have in common? If you answered that they're all asymmetrical horror games, or in non-gamer terms, a horror game where the gameplay is not the same for every player, typically a one versus many situation, then congratulations, you're correct. And in almost every single asymmetrical horror game in this one versus many format, there is one consistency. You cannot jump. And while that might seem like a small thing, it's actually insanely important. Removing the ability to jump removes the ability for any kind of significant vertical movement, at least going upwards. In other words, the only way you're going to be in the air at any given time is by falling off a ledge. But once you've fallen, there's no getting back up, shy of walking all the way around to whatever ramp or incline that gets you up there in the first place. And this feature is present in almost all of these games, making them quite literally very grounded. And this rule still applies to even the most popular asymmetrical horror game on Roblox, and one of the most popular in the world at large, the game Forsaken. Just like all the other games, in Forsaken, you cannot, under any circumstance, jump, making it yet another one of these horizontal, killer vs. survivor, grounded, asymmetrical horror games. If you're being chased by the killer and fall off a ledge, there's no jumping back up, shy of glitches or exploits.
That's all you have to do. He's juking himself. He was away from the killer and then walked it. Did he just jump?
So what do? Well, really, nothing. No matter what you do, no matter who you play, there's absolutely, positively no way to jump. In the latest Forsaken update, the Strangers from the Past update, they added a new character called Veronica. She's a survivalist who likes vandalizing public property, hitting herself in the head repeatedly, and most importantly, taking one of the very few consistencies in all of Forsaken and saying, that, I do what I want. That's right, Veronica can jump. Now, some of you might be thinking I'm making a joke. She can jump. So what? What's the big deal? What does that really change? Well, when you take a horizontal game and add a vertical character, you get this. Let me explain. Under normal circumstances, in order to get behind this house on Yorick's resting place, starting from this little side porch, you would have to do one of two things. You'd have to either A, walk all the way around from the front side of the house, go through the main entrance, through the dining room, and only then would you be where you were trying to get to. Or alternatively, option B, you can walk through this poison water, which deals a minimum of 10 damage every time you walk through it. Both of these are horrible options, as one requires an entire stamina bar to reach, and the other reduces your health massively. 10 HP is nothing to scoff at by any means, all because no character can get over this one tiny wall. Except Veronica. And this little ledge is not an isolated case, not even close. In fact, on every single map, except Beach House Paradise, I was able to find at least one, usually more, of these tech spots. Spots where any other character is cornered, but Veronica isn't. Simply because of the fact that she can perform one little hop. This takes the entire concept of Forsaken and completely shatters it. Because how are you supposed to catch something if it can just ascend to a different elevation whenever it feels like it? Well, the answer is simple. You can't. In my original script, I spent the next 4 minutes talking about the various ways that Veronica breaks the game, such as her being able to tank for her spray paints, being able to spray through walls, and the fact that no projectile in the entire game, besides mass infection, which has way too long of a windup to be useful, can break her spray paints, making them extremely difficult to deal with, as well as her battery being incredibly overpowered in chase. However, I recorded that voiceover about 4 days ago, and that very same day, they released a patch fixing basically every single one of my points. Spraying through walls? Patched. Projectiles don't do enough damage to break sprays? Massive health nerf. Battery is overpowered, starting percent reduced, and an entire 20-second cooldown nerf. And while you can still tank for your spray paints, most killers have a projectile that can break them now. Even Slasher, the single killer with no projectile, has multi-hit. So that issue is pretty much solved. And then after that, I spent an additional 3 minutes talking about how the only real way to beat Veronica was using Guess 666, because of how perfectly he counters her. Hemorrhage makes using battery basically impossible, Eviscerate makes skating away pointless because Guess can catch up so quickly, and Demonic Pursuit means he can just follow you up whatever ledge you jump onto. And in that very same patch, Hemorrhage gets an actual duration rather than lasting the entire match until someone patches you up, Eviscerate becomes significantly weaker, and Demonic Pursuit is just not as good as I thought it was for following V around. That one wasn't really a nerf or anything, I was just wrong. So basically, the entire back half of my video just became outdated before I ever even posted it. Well, I'm just gonna share my final thoughts. Veronica is extremely fun to play and incredibly good. However, I am slightly concerned with what she brings to the future of Forsaken. It's very obvious to me that these two new characters are extremely power crept in terms of just the sheer number of abilities they have. Fixer has 8 whole abilities if you count both of his passives and his 2 alt fires being Eviscerate and Bloodhunt. Keep in mind that the previous highest number of abilities was Guest 1337 with 5. 5. And that's only if we count his parry as a separate ability, which I'd barely even say counts. Because it's not a completely different move the same way that Eviscerate and Bloodhunt are, it's just a slightly better version of the existing move. But, despite all this, I still really like Veronica. Easily my favorite survivor. Absolute cinema. Never rework her. I beg of you. Just leave her, please.